Hi guys! So yesterday we looked at 10 of my favorite things. Today I wanted us to look at 10 of my least favorite things. For every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. So for every one thing you like, there has got to be one thing that you don't. Alright, the first one, going to the zoo. I dislike going to the zoo so much. And yet I've been to so many zoos. I think in Belgium I went to zoos all the time. In Kenya, I have a little bit. Never done a safari, but a little bit. And how did I come about this? I think when I'm scrolling on social media, I do see a few things here and there about like going to the safari. And that's something I've been telling myself. I've been telling myself, how can I be from Kenya and have never been to a safari? So I've been planning that one of these days when I come home, which I tend to do every year, I'm going to go on a safari. And then I started to think to myself, why would you do that to yourself, girl? You know you don't like to see animals locked up. Well, maybe a safari is different. Well, that wasn't the case. That's the zoo. What I don't like about a safari is the tension. I see these people driving around in open Jeeps, open Land Rovers, and then we've got animals on the prowl. And all your driver tells you to do is sit still. Like, what? What do you mean sit still? There's a wild animal on top of our car and it's pawing me, it's peering in at me, and I'm supposed to sit still? That's your advice to me, to sit still? Guys, I'm afraid of dogs. What am I going to do with a lion on the prowl? No, I'm not going on a safari. I'm not going to the zoo. So it was so liberating to realize that's not my cup of tea. I don't have to do a safari. Now, if there's a safari where you go and you don't see any wild animals, that would be my kind of safari. So if anybody knows of a safari you can do that doesn't involve animals, I don't mind roughing it up, but just doesn't involve animals. Like, I'm too scared for animals. I'm not doing animals. I don't do anything that's not a human being. Even just the thought of an insect, my crown. Even just the thought of an insect scares me. I don't do anything that's not like a human, something I'm familiar with. So no safari for me. But the last time I went to a zoo was in San Diego, and we went and spent an entire day at the zoo. I vlogged about it, so it must be here in one of the playlists if you care to see it. And it made me so sad. I was looking at the animals and I was so sad for them. I felt that it was such cruelty locking them up. And I was with my ex-husband at the time, because I remember he said, well, it's for their own protection. and I was just like, no, I'd rather be wild and free than I'm being protected from what exactly? I'm now locked up. This is no quality of life. I'd rather be roaming wild and free, whatever the consequences. I'll deal with that. If I get eaten up by another animal, then at least I got eaten up when I was free. So I'm so against being locked up. In fact, I remember this was my quote directly: there is no prize for freedom, not even safety. To me, it echoed a quote by Maya Mendoza that reads, no amount of security is worth the suffering of a mediocre life, chained to a routine that has killed your dreams. Not to say animals have dreams, but just no, there's no amount of security that is worth your freedom. That's just my feeling. And so at some point, I think it was a realization that by visiting zoos, I'm financing this, I'm facilitating this. And quite frankly, I just don't enjoy seeing animals in captivity. Heck, I don't even enjoy seeing pets. Like, if you have a pet in your home, have two. If you have one dog, I think of you as cruel, because everybody needs somebody, And I think, why would you bring in one dog and not two so they can keep each other company? Why would you have one goldfish in an aquarium and not two so they can keep each other company? I'm a great advocate for 2x2, like Noah's Ark, or was it 8? Whatever number it was. I don't like anything chained. I don't like anything out of its natural habitat. I just want us to let the animals be. Okay, that is my second. Or is that the second? I think that's the second, because I've talked about going on safari. I don't think I want to unless there's no animals to see. I'm too scared for that. And then the second one, I don't like to go to the zoo because I don't like to see animals locked up, not even as y'all's pets. You better make them in twos so they're not lonely. All right, the third thing that is one of my least favorite things is watching suspense movies, watching thriller movies. And I know this is a bit of a shock because in the previous video, I talked about having watched every single Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie. I watched Arnold Schwarzenegger. I used to love action thrillers. Those were my type of movies. But as I've gotten older, I have no stomach for any kind of suspense. I have no stomach for any kind of sadness. I have no stomach for any kind of drama that involves sadness. I don't. I refuse to pay to be made sad. I refuse to pay to watch a sad movie. I refuse to read a sad book. Goodbye, Danielle Steels. I don't read anything sad anymore. I figured out life is sad enough by itself. Life has enough tragedy by itself. There's so much heartache. There's so much pain, so much disappointment. Why would I entertain myself with the same? Why would I inundate myself with sadness? Why would I immerse myself in sad things, movies? I cannot. I don't watch Tyler Perry because why? After I think it was Fall from Grace, poof, the one with Taraji P. Henson, that made me really sad. The last suspense movie I watched because I was at my sister's house and that's what they were watching was, what's this Australian actor? What's his name? Russell Crowe, Unhinged. It was a road rage movie. I was at the edge of my seat. I nearly fell down. By the end of it, I was like, y'all, leave me out of this. I'm not watching this kind of movies. Give me my Jane Austens. Give me my Pride and Prejudice. Give me my Sense and Sensibility. Give me my Emma, Persuasion. Those are the movies I like. No drama. Well, a little bit of drama, but nothing outlandish. Nothing major is going to happen. Just a little bit of heartache, and then they always end up together. I love those kind of movies. Do not give me suspense. I don't do well with suspense. I don't do well with thrillers anymore. I don't do well with sad movies. I don't do well with dramatic movies that end sadly. I certainly, my entire life, have never been one to watch horror movies. Now, I did watch the Stephen King Shining. I didn't understand that it was a horror movie. And until today, I still have like the visuals of the twins in the corridor, especially in a hotel like this traditional. No. I don't do horrors. I don't do anything sad. I just like lovely, bubbly movies. I don't necessarily like comedy, but I love Hallmark. I'm a Hallmark girl. I'm a period piece girl. Okay, the fourth thing that is one of the least favorite things for me to do is when you go to the amusement park and then you have to get on one of the rides. Whew! Listen, I was visiting my friend Merab in the UK and we went to the Six Flags and I think I didn't understand what we were getting on, and next thing I know we were being thrown about and I hated it. I hated it so much. I still see the pictures and I still think like, what was I thinking? I don't like getting on amusement park rides. Now, I just came back from a trip in Canada where my son joined me a couple of weeks ago and we went on an amusement park. We got on the Ferris wheel. That was nice because it was slow and nice. I can do the slow rides. I can't do anything adrenaline pumping. I just haven't got it in me. I've never had it. I remember even when my son was young and we'd go to, I think it was as young as 2, 3, maybe 6, and we'd go to amusement parks and he would want to get on the much faster rides and I'd just let him. I wouldn't get on with him. You know, if he'd go with his group of friends, they'd all go in and I'd watch from the sidelines. I've never been one to enjoy the thrill. I've never had the thrill for adrenaline. I don't like when my adrenaline is pumping. I don't like when my adrenaline is pumping for any reason for that matter. I don't like it. I like it calm. I like a calm life. Just leave me alone. I want it calm and quiet. So that's the fourth. The fifth thing I don't like, snow. Drum roll, snow. I don't like snow. I don't like snow. And I often wonder what happened. How come when I came to the US, I ended up in Connecticut? It's one of the colder states. Now, at that time, I didn't know because coming from Belgium, which was already cold, I just assumed everywhere else there's nowhere where you can escape winter unless you go to the south of France, La Provence, or you go to the south of Spain or the south of Italy. But then when I came to America, I mean, I'd heard about Florida, but I didn't quite grasp that the weather was different. So when I ended up in Connecticut, because that's where my husband at the time lived, so we ended up in Connecticut and we had mountains of snow. I remember that first winter, I think it was the winter of 2010, there was a mountain of snow. Everything was covered. We lost electricity for about a week. It was horrid. And I remember him going out to clear the snow and it wasn't clear where to begin because you couldn't see any of the cars. You very well could have put a spade in your car because you really couldn't see where anything was. It was horrid. It was horrid. Thankfully, I wasn't working that first year, and so I was just home watching the snow from inside. But then eventually I did start to work, and I don't like the snow. Let's just say that. I don't like the snow. I still have my home in Connecticut. Thankfully, I have someone that takes care of the snow for me every time it snows, but I don't like snow. I don't even like looking at it from inside the house. I mean, I will, but I don't romanticize it. It gets dirty. It's cold. I'm not a snow girl. I'm not your snow bunny. Nope. Take me to the south. All right, piggybacking on that, the sixth thing that I really don't like, one of my least favorite things, cold. I don't like it cold. I don't like it cold. Do you want to ask me what temperatures I'd have when I'm at home? Somewhere up north of 80. The first thing I do when I get to any of my hotel rooms, crank up that heat. That's the first thing I do. I put it to the highest it will allow me. If it's 85, that's how high we're going, and then I'll bring it down later once the room is like warm and toasty, like an oven. I really like it like that. And I do the same when I'm in Europe. Unfortunately, there they cap it. They cap it at 23 Celsius. That's like 70, what's 73? That's like 73. That's freezing for me. I'm cold-blooded, like I'm a reptile, somebody once told me, because I'm always cold. I have cold extremities. My hands are always cold. My feet are always cold. The tip of my nose. It doesn't matter how warm it is. It doesn't matter how hot it is. I'm always cold. So I'm always seeking for heat from external sources. And so I like it hot. And if I come to my hotel room, the first thing I'll do is crank up the heat, and then I'll go to the shower. I simply go to the shower because I need to warm up. And I'll crank up the water to the warmest or the hottest that my skin can tolerate without scalding. And then I'll just stand under the shower, or I'll get in the bathtub. Mostly shower. I prefer shower. Even when it's a bathtub, I'll still shower. And I'll just kind of wait for my body to warm up, or for the room to warm up. I really don't like it cold. It's the same on the aircraft, because most of the other flight attendants that I work with, they like it cold for whatever reason, and I'll always sneak in and crank that up. I just need one passenger to say it's cold. That's it. That's my excuse. I go and I crank it up to at least 74. I think that's reasonable. So if they find it, they always bring it down to 72. But if it was up to them, they'd have it at 63. And I always think, it's cold. But the passengers seem to like it. I just need 1-2 passengers to say it's cold. I'm going to turn that thing up. I really don't like it when it's cold. All right. The seventh thing I don't like is driving. I don't like driving. I do not like driving. I don't know what happened to me that I dislike driving this much. I just don't like driving. I just don't like driving. I don't like driving. I've never liked driving. I drive out of necessity, but as soon as I don't have to, I'll be the first one to just not drive. If ever I'm with anyone and they're like, can I drive? Yeah, take the keys, drive. I don't like to drive at all. I drive out of necessity. I've never driven in Africa. Thankfully, I have a brother that loves to drive me everywhere when I get there. I love that. We really have a tight-knit family. I'm so grateful to God for the family that we have. But when I'm in Belgium, in Europe, I drive. Not in the UK. Basically, I've never driven on the left side, I should specify. On the right-hand side, I can drive wherever I find myself. I've driven all over Europe. I drive here in the US. Bottom line, I don't like to drive. I really don't like to drive, but I drive out of necessity. I have an irrational fear whenever I get behind the wheel. I always have this feeling that I just entered. Like I feel trapped. I feel like I'm in a moving coffin. I'm so sorry to say that, but I don't like driving. It scares the bejeebers out of me. But by God's grace, we move. We move. All right. The other thing I don't like, the seventh, is going anywhere. I already said I'm a homebody in my few of my favorite things video. So in this video, I'm going to say going anywhere. It is such an inconvenience having to go anywhere. If I never had to go anywhere, I would be the happiest. If I never had to leave my house to go anywhere, I would be the happiest. There's no occasion that I celebrate going. I guess I'm really introverted. The job I'm currently working, I took it to sort of break out of my shell, and it's helped some. It's helped. I'm able to talk to strangers. I'm able to start up conversations with literally everyone, anyone. When my passengers are coming on to my flight, I'm chatting with all of them. I'm complimenting them. I'm joking. I'm really outgoing in that sense. But still, to my core, I remain an introvert. I'd rather not leave my house. I'd rather not see anyone. And I'm not talking about some type of phobia, agoraphobia. No, hell no. I'll go out if I have to. I go out all the time. I'd rather just not if I can help it. That's all. All right. The 9th of my least favorite thing, drum roll everyone, cooking anything, including water. I don't like cooking. I mean, I will if I have to. I have, and I will continue to. But do I enjoy it? Barely. I think it's because I'm not a foodie. You know, food is food. I eat, I enjoy my food. I mean, clearly I enjoy my food. But I'm not really a foodie. I'm not one of those people that will eat and taste and say, it's good. And I can taste a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of nutmeg. Some notes of, no, that's not me. Food is just food. I eat for sustenance. I eat because people ought to eat to stay alive. And so I think because of that reason, I'm not so discerning in the kitchen. I could mix this and that just because I don't know what goes with anything. My son, on the other hand, and I think this is because of the horrible food I've cooked over the years, he loves to cook. He takes such pride in cooking. So much that I was like, are you sure you want to be an engineer? Because maybe you should just be a chef. He cooks these elaborate meals and then he makes you taste them. And then, listen, gourmet food is wasted on me because all food kind of like tastes the same. It's very hard for me to eat food and say, this is delicious. I mean, from time to time it happens, but in general, food is food. Food is food. No food is different from the other. I could survive on chips just as well as I could survive on caviar. I'll just eat it all because it's food. So a good meal is wasted on me. I was going through this season where I was going to this amazing restaurants with this amazing person and eating food after food, and that was a good experience. And maybe I thought, you know what, I might enjoy food for the experience of it, because we would order all these lavish dishes, all of like everything on the menu. You'd be like, get that too, oh yeah, you'll take that with you, get that to take away, you're working, you get that to take away, you're going to eat that later. So maybe I enjoy the experience of food. And like my friend in Amsterdam, Lexi, we do go out a lot to eat, and I love that. So I think I love the experience of going out to eat just for the companionship, for the merrymaking and the merriment of it. But when it comes to the actual food or the cooking of it, miss me with that. All right. And then the last of my favorite things on this list is working in general. Can you believe I said that? I did. Working in general. And when I say that, how do I qualify this? Like, I love to work. I've never been someone that hasn't been engaged in with one thing or the other at any given point. But like when I remember when I was in corporate America, going to work morning and then staying on and living in the evening. Could I ever do corporate? I don't think so. I love my job now because it doesn't feel like I'm working for anyone. Literally, I just have to show up on the aircraft. I just have to keep time. It's one of the most independent jobs because you don't have a boss. You do have a manager that you only see in case you need something, you need time off. But outside of that, they really don't interfere with you unless you're coming late, you're showing late at the aircraft, then you're going to get yourself hauled into the office and ask what's going on with your life. But outside of that, if you show up on time, you will never know you're reporting to anyone because nobody really follows up on you. You only go there when you need something, when you need maybe some type of intervention for one thing or the other. So I love my job because I get my schedule, which I bid for. I mostly get what I bid for, so I know exactly when I'm going to be free, when I'm going to be working. So this is the closest I can come to not working for somebody at this period in my life. I get to make my own schedule. I get to work as much as I want. I get to work as little as I want. I get to decide when to come in, when I want to report in early, when I prefer much later flights. It gives me so much freedom. It allows me to work on my other passion projects. For instance, it's really about getting to somewhere, getting into your hotel room, and then you're there for 24 hours, 27 hours, 36 hours, sometimes longer. Sometimes you get cancellations and you get to stay longer. So what are you doing all that time? You're praying, you're having an amazing time with your Lord and Savior. You're meeting your friend. I love going to Amsterdam because I meet my friend Lexi over there. We go watch movies. We go to the theater. We go to the cinema. We go for meals. Sometimes we go shopping. Sometimes she comes over to the hotel and we just hang out and talk and laugh late into the night. And when we're not doing that, then I'm working on my passion projects. I'm journaling, I'm writing, I'm blogging, I'm working on a few other things under wraps that I'm not going to share right now. But I love this. This doesn't feel like work. And I think that that's what life is supposed to be. And I'm not delusional to think I'm not working for someone. I am working for the world's largest airline. So I am working for someone, but it doesn't feel like it. For this season in my life and where I am and what I'm working on, this I can tolerate. This is perfect. Another thing about my job is that I really missed Europe. When I moved to the US, oh man, that was a difficult transition. Difficult. I had such a hard time settling in. And for the longest time, I kept trying to go back and really coming here because my ex-husband was British. So I was under the impression that we were going to move back to the UK and live there. But then we ended up just being here because you kind of just get trapped in life. So that entire time I was sort of in suspense, thinking any minute now we should go back to Europe. I don't quite like it here. I'm not fitting in properly here. So with my job that allows me to crisscross back and forth to go to Europe on a weekly basis, I don't feel like I ever left Europe. I feel like I'm still very much, we don't necessarily fly to Belgium, but we fly to Amsterdam. Same culture, same difference, so I'm still able to shop the things I got used to when I lived there. I get to buy all my groceries from there, buy my clothing, shoes, books, everything. If you look at my closet, you wouldn't even believe I live in the US because more than anything, my mindset, my mentality, my dressing, my thinking, all of it is still very much European than it is American. And so this job I appreciate much as I don't generally enjoy working. I think it's more corporate that I'd have trouble fitting back into. But this one, I love it. I love it. Okay, I think that rounds up 10 of my least favorite things. I will see you on my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate this. And I'm having so much fun creating these videos. I'm really coming into my own. And I'm so happy that this is where I am at this point in my life. Okay, bye.